Lost the link with Ayu, but we'll cross over shortly. But several results streaming in. And of course, as Mary had said, they hope to hear the results for Roysambu by 3 p.m. That's an hour and a half to go. So they're moving quite quickly to ensure that they get these results out and to the public and announce winners.
Yeah. Let's bring up our guest again. Kabando Wa Kabando is a former Mkuruweni member of parliament and he vied for Senate in Nyeri, but also in a NAC Kenya ticket, but conceded defeat. And Franklin Mukwanja, Executive Director, CMD. And I'm just curious to find out, Honorable Kabando, in your concession speech, you talked about the campaign being a pro-people policy, issues, basic needs and basic rights when you're conceding.
Yes.
Does it mean that the conversation that you had with the people on the ground did not match their aspirations, or what transpired in your own view?
Not necessarily. This election, like the previous elections, the determinant is not purely on issues. It has something to do with a number of variables. One, party affiliations, which matters on the ground influence. Number two, the national dynamics can also make elections at the lowest level a little different or significantly so, depending on area. Number three, other issues at the local level that are dynamics. They include propaganda, they include local players, and I can enumerate without going into a lot of details. Social democracy is about welfareism. You know, if you look at countries like Scandinavian countries, Sweden, Finland, Denmark, Norway, Switzerland, even Germany, about the basic needs of the people: water, food, security, education, health, as basic human needs. In 1997, that is what Social Democratic Party and Savina Party were carrying as our flag, the frontier for the agenda to shift the focus of Kenya from the trickle down. I know this can be understood to mean what people have been campaigning here between Azimio and Kenya Kwanza. But that's exactly the agenda that we did in 2002 when we talked about free primary education. And at the 100 days, Kibaki did implement the free primary education program that allowed everyone to go to class. So my campaign on the ground, over the years, because I contested first as a very young guy in 1987 from Mkuruweni seat, has been on egalitarian policies. I know it may sound a big word, but it means that which concerns the commoner. So it is not that the voter did not connect with that. In fact, let me tell you, I don't think there was any other candidate who held singular meeting at the county level, singular. And by singular, I mean there were meetings organized by the UDA brigade. They went together as a team. There were meetings organized by Jubilee people, governor, senator, candidate, MPs, MCAs. They were doing campaigns many times together, sometimes individually. At the county level, I was among the very few, and I would say of the prominent candidates who did a singular campaign on my own, in the villages, meeting hundreds of people, many times without using microphone, and you could follow that on my Facebook page and also on my Twitter.
Then? What went wrong then?
Nothing went wrong. In fact, let me say, generally speaking, in the Mount Kenya region, it needs to be understood why the voter did whitewash most of the Azimio-leaning candidates. There is no Jubilee person who won in Nyeri. There isn't any na Kenya. It was on na Kenya. There was a candidate in Madeira. We didn't win. Despite the fact that until very last day, the candidate in Madeira for parliamentary was doing very, very well and very strong. And in Nyeri, if you remove the government-sponsored opinion polls on the ground, it was easily discernible that my campaign was resonating very well with the people, given the participation and the attendance and the local endorsement. But there is a rebellion that cannot be ignored. The voter is angry. Now, add that, Victoria, to hunger. I have never witnessed a campaign in my region, like in 2022, where in every village you went, even when people know that you don't give a handout, there was a cry for hunger. Sometimes coming from unexpected individuals. And this is something that is very potent. It is not just about the campaign. It is something that I said in my campaign meetings that it needs to be addressed very quickly. Yeah. And whoever wins the presidency, even at a very short time, we don't redress the biting poverty and hunger in the grassroots, this will be a very difficult government to handle at the national level. Yeah. So I would say, there is, I know some people don't want to admit, the voter was rebelling against Uhuru Kenyatta. That's a fact. I know those who are in Azimio, like me, who, of course, are at the affiliation of ODM, Jubilee, Kenya, and other affiliates, who don't want to tell the king that things are difficult. We have gone through it, and now the voter have said. I said this June last year. I was hosted here by Jeff Koinange. Yeah. Sami Kituko also hosted me in the morning, around the same time, I think, in May last year. And I said the anger, the restlessness in our region was now getting out of hand completely. The voters were not rejecting individual candidates. If you do a walk in Nyeri town today, or in Karatina town, people will not say we rejected Kabando. It's that we wanted to teach Jubilee and its affiliates a lesson. You cannot say that in Kirinyaga, Mother Karua was rejected. You could speak to people at random, and I'm saying this not out of political bias. Around, if you go to many places, everyone will tell you, Mother Karua is sober, is a gallant, she's a leader of integrity. But when it now came to actual vote, it was Mother with Raila Odinga. Okay, but where is Uhuru Kenyatta? The last days of campaigns, let me risk and say this, because it is good to speak truth to power. Uhuru did not help Raila in the last days. The interviews he did, the meetings he came, like for instance, he came to Nyeri a day before, 2 days before the voting. He went to Odhaya. The leadership was totally absent. He went to Narumoro. The leadership was totally absent. The leadership of the county. And therefore, the voters were seeing something mischievous. So I know some people want to defend and say, Uhuru had to do what he did. But if, in wisdom of he decides, Uhuru will sit and look around, you see there was a lot of mishandling of issues. So we were expecting Raila to get something between 30 and 35%. Now, when you look, you are seeing about 15 to 17%. But that is not to say, of course, that Raila is not going to win. Of course, he has not got that kind of a percentage in the previous elections. So finally, let me say this. To concede defeat is to accept the voters' verdict. I've done that in all the previous elections. I did it in 2017, even during nominations. I was the first in the Republic. In 2002, I did concede defeat. I was the first one in Kenya to do that. And it was announced, I remember, by the late Waero Boro on the radio season, rest in peace. To concede defeat is to accept that whether there is emotion, whether people are voting out of anger, whether people are rebelling, that the verdict largely reflects the will of the people. In the circumstances, there was no way Kabando Wa Kabando was going to win the Senate seat in Nyeri when the majority of the voters decided to elect every member of parliament in Nyeri, the governor, the women rep, the senator, and I think over 25 out of that members of county assemblies. You cannot logically say that all those elected on UD ticket in Nyeri County and other part of Mount Kenya qualified more than others. It is simply that the resentment and the anger and the rebellion disadvantaged even the most qualified and the most visionary But democracy, you can say, it may be the worst form of government, but except for all the others. So people spoke, people made a choice. Those choices are now mandated. We have to accept them, and we have to congratulate them and support them to deliver. Hopefully, that decision at the county level, at the constituency level, at the ward level, in my prayer, even this 11th hour, will be repudiated at the national level so that that brigade can control the legislatures, but then we control the executive.